It is now here, and it is now time. Due to many things going on, and even me being severely sick before being able to record anything, I am now back. And what better way to do a comeback than by covering a really big topic that everyone seems to have their own opinion on? This review is going to be much more deeper and personal. I was just going to do a really quick JPR review. Remember that thing I used to do God knows how long ago where it was just little quick speed reviews? But I felt something, with a topic this big to me deserves a full deep dive breakdown on. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I am a huge Michael Jackson fan. I've been a huge fan of his ever since I was a kid, owning all the albums, having all the merchandise. Even when I went to go see this movie, I went to go see it in 4DX, and even went out of my way to get this limited edition popcorn bucket. So for me, this is a big deal. I even, in anticipation for this movie, even did a Jetpack Retro episode covering the Michael Jackson dancing games, each and every one of them, because that game has so many different versions. You could check that out as well by clicking on that eye icon. But today, it's different, because this time we're talking about his life story and stuff like that. So without any further distractions, ado, or anything in between, let's dive into a very brutally honest look at this Michael movie. The Michael movie is very hard to put into words because it feels, right before this movie came out, his own daughter Paris Jackson gave a report saying her views on this movie of it's more obsessed with the magical fantasy of his life story instead of his actual life story. And if I'm being very honest, it is. She nailed it to a T. This movie is purely just the magical storytelling of Michael Jackson, not really the brutal telling of his actual life story and the horrors he went through throughout his entire life. The movie only goes up till the Thriller era. It ends right when he is performing Bad Live, his biggest live tour, and that's really where they cut it off. The movie, I understand, had all these different lawsuits and stuff they were allowed to show and they weren't, so they had to rework the film to basically only be up to the Thriller era and restructure the movie to make the entire story of the film just framed around Michael versus his dad. They even wanted the whole movie to just be framed around that as its main story. Through the dad's abuse when he was a kid, through the dad's hold on him when he was growing up, to the dad tried to control every aspect of his life, all the way down to even the accident his dad and family ended up causing him, which made him change his view on life. The movie does these things fine, but the movie feels off. The movie feels like I'm watching a speed run. The movie is desperate to just as fast as possible just get his life story done and over with. Every single aspect of his life is just really quick and to the point. For example, the abuse his dad did to him. Just show one scene and maybe a little glimpse here in a montage of his dad abusing him, and then just move on. His entire life story of the Jackson 5 and being discovered when they were performing for Motown in that little small apartment room, and the struggles they went through in trying to get noticed, and the many talent shows and the many performances they did and the many clubs they performed at. Just skip it. It just goes straight to practice, a bullshit lie of, oh no, the girl was just there watching them when they performed once, gave the dad her card, the end. Move on, you're part of Motown, Jackson 5 story is over. It just goes practice, beaten, discovered, performing at a big theme park. Let's cut straight to when he was a teenager. And then the teenage part of his story, I also want to know more about. They just speed around that too with just, he wants to be independent immediately, like just skipping everything, immediately, right away getting close to the whole, oh right, I already want to make a solo album, I want to get straight to Off the Wall, and kind of just skip past all the struggles and him meeting Jones through The Wiz and the way that relationship came to be and the flop of that movie that caused this new relationship and all the stuff they went through on discussing and putting the album together. Just that already happened, and then just immediately straight to Don't Stop Till You Get Enough montage. That part's over. Goodbye. We're not even going to dive into how hard it was to put together, the stuff he went through, how he put together each and every song, and the different songwriters and the flavors of how each song came to be, and not even showing his disappointment when he got the Grammy for Best Black Solo Single and stuff like that, and how he hated that it was only to one side and he wanted to be accepted by both. Like, just skip it. And then we get to Thriller, and then for Thriller, it's just, we get to see Bubbles, and then his first nose surgery, which, by the way, they completely in the movie skip over the story plot that when he was performing with his brothers, he ended up falling and breaking his nose on stage, which caused the first surgery, and then it proceeded to cause sinuses problems that he needed to keep getting surgery for, and then it spiraled from the way his brothers, and that's another thing the movie gets wrong, his brothers were the ones that called him fat nose and taunted him, and his dad would refuse to accept that he had the same nose as him and then proceed to make fun of him. Like, it's all very brief. The movie very quickly just feels like it wants to get done and over with. It doesn't want to hang around. It tries to do, which the same team was behind Bohemian Rhapsody, and that movie also had a lot of just shit thrown in that just did not happen or didn't make sense, just so they could really quickly get to the point. Even the Thriller era is just, alright, he makes the whole, he does the Motown thing, does Billie Jean, montage, does Beat It, montage, here's a little quick snippet of Thriller, a little brief mention of the whole war Michael had against MTV of showing his music video, which they got half right, but they skipped the whole parts of Michael himself personally went to MTV and he showed the actual video and he actually showed like all the hurdles he went through to beat their process until finally the threat came in the end. And then the accident scene, which that's the only scene I give this movie praise for. The accident scene is done really well. I love how the Pepsi accident was done perfectly. The way he shot, the slow-mo on the fire burning his skull without him even noticing, he just kept performing. That part, they recreated to a T perfectly to the way it happened. And even the nice parts about him in the ward and all the medication he had to be on due to the pain and how that dragged him down and his addiction started there. Like, those parts are there. And then even the sad thing of, him donating all that money to the other burn victims, and they get those parts right. The one thing I'll say about the movie is every single part about his generosity and how, giving and nice of a person he was is shown perfectly. Those parts are the highlights of the movie, if I'm being honest. The him with the sick kids, the him with the burn ward unit, the him at the toy store, just signing stuff for the kids, those parts are all perfect. But when it comes to the actual dark side of his life or the nitty-gritty sides, they're either not interested to show it, or they just want to fast forward through it. All those dark parts they don't do much with, or they turn into this big soap opera with sad music thing, like the scene with him and his mom and stuff like that, which are good scenes, but we're not getting to the brink of it. Even on the accident scene, they don't get to the parts of when he reported how much he hated it. He reported on how much the accident angered him and how the accident wasn't his own words, just plain stupid, the end, and how much that made him start to separate from his family, and they get a lot of that wrong. The finale part is cool, but also not true, where he did do the performance, and then just, because Michael already before the Victory Tour already announced it was going to be his last tour, like that was already a fact he was already promoting before the tour happened, so people were already in the loop about it. This was simply him just restating a fact. Yes, it is true that it still shocked his brothers and his dad, but in the actual story, he did that, and then his dad just ran up on stage with all of their kids and grandkids, and his mom came on stage, and then Michael just danced with his family and went up to his dad and mom and then like did a little dance with them and then hugged them and gave a big goodbye, and then he walked off. So even that part they reframed to be more of a breaking the chains and getting rid of his dad type of way, when it was far different than how it happened. Maybe that is how he felt and that was the point, but that's not what actually happened. And then just for the movie to blue ball you at the end with good performance on bad on stage, and then that's it. Now, I'm well aware maybe you couldn't have done all that. Well, you could have. Like, I would have been more than okay with sitting through a 3-hour film if it meant I got to see the life story of Michael Jackson. Like, a lot of Michael fans would be more than happy with that. Like, I was sitting in the theater watching, and the whole time I'm just sitting there going, please don't be the end. Like, I really hope this goes on for much longer, please. And just wanting more of his story, but sadly being reminded that we weren't going to get that. And even the way that they do it with the montages and the speeding through it, for a movie that's 2 hours, it feels much shorter. It feels like one of those movies, I don't know if you ever had this experience where you're watching a film, and then it feels like you're just going through the motions. Like, yep, here's the childhood scene, here's the off-the-wall scene, alright, now we just got a thriller and a victory tour scene, and then the movie's over. Like, you're able to, like, pinpoint it in scenes, and it just feels short due to that. But in one thing that I will say the movie did teach me above all is one thing, which at first I enjoyed the film, then on a second thinking about it, on a second thought through over the movie, I started to change my views. And then when I started myself just looking at other movies and thinking about his life story, I started to, now I'm on this weird middle ground with the film where it just taught me one thing. And the one thing it taught me was I just can't do this stuff without Michael, if that makes sense. All it taught me was how disappointed and upset I am that, and sad that Michael just isn't around anymore. That's all it reminded me of. I'm watching the movie, and nothing against Jafar Jackson. He did a fine job. But every time I saw him try to sing over Michael's song and him try to do something Michael would do, all that screamed in my head was, that's not Michael. It's just not him. When I heard the voice, my mind went straight to, God bless you, you're trying, but you can't hit the same notes Michael could. You just can't. And even the dances, it just made me wish that I was instead just watching Michael do it. I immediately then just went online and just instead watched the real versions, like, hey, watch the real Motown performance and the real times these happen, and they were 10 times more enjoyable to watch. Now, I know to many people, you'll just say, well, no shit, it's the King of Pop, of course I'd rather see him, which, fair point. That is basically what I'm saying, but that's all the movie reminded me of. All the movie kept reminding me on, rethinks of it was, I just don't want stuff like this anymore, if that makes sense. I'd rather just actually see Michael. I mean, for Christ's sakes, if they did a 4DX re-release of This Is It, that would be the greatest thing ever. I would much rather see This Is It in 4K theaters and see Michael perform in 4DX and just watch his actual concerts and the making of them on the big screen instead of this movie, is what I'm trying to get at. Not a bad movie, but like I said at the beginning of this, Paris Jackson was right. The movie is just a very fantasized, brief, just quick rundown on the image and the idea of Michael we have in our heads, but not really what he actually went through and his actual story. Still a fine movie. I'm willing to give this movie a fine. Like, it's passable. I could even see myself, if I ever had a friend or somebody who, doesn't know much about Michael and watching stuff like it, like, I wouldn't mind showing it to them just to see the magic of his performances. That's really it. But if I ever wanted someone to really get a good grip of his life story, I would rather put on This Is It. This Is It still the best. If we had to rank his movies, the best out of all of them is This Is It. This Is It is still my favorite one of all time because it was just him and us getting to see him and us seeing how he would put it together concert. Second place would be The Jacksons: An American Dream. Yes, The Jacksons: An American Dream is far more honest with the story of Michael Jackson than this movie Michael was. They're way more honest with the abuse, with the brilliance of the dad, the stuff Michael went through. It actually is way more accurate with the Jackson 5 story. More accurate than the Michael movie, at least. Yes, there's still problems, and yes, there's still things that were changed, but it's way more. And yes, that movie is like, I think, 4 hours, but that's what I mean. That's what we wanted in Things with Michael. And that is my thoughts with him. All this reminded me was that all it did was just make me miss Michael Jackson and then realize that we will never see him again. And from here on out, it will just be people's opinion on his life story and people telling us their version of his story and other people playing him, and it just feels from now on it will just be fake, which, yeah, makes sense, but it's sad. It makes me miss that Michael's a thing more than ever, and I would rather just like to see his live performances on the big screen again. But, that's just what I think about the Michael movie. There are many different ways to, think about it and talk about it, so why don't you? In the comments below, please give me your opinion on this movie, or of Michael Jackson himself and what you thought of the actual performer and stuff you wish was in the movie that wasn't. I'm well aware I did hear news that there is going to be a second Michael movie in the works, so maybe that will fix some of these things and make it better. But in the meantime, this is what we got, and this is how I feel. So yeah, like I said, below, please write in the comments, have a conversation back and forth on, your favorite Michael moment, or what you thought of the Michael movie, or what you thought of the Jacksons movie and stuff like that. Do you agree with my opinion? Do you have your own? Please let me know. I love to chat with you guys on these different opinions and to discuss a topic we both like. And yeah, that's what I gotta say about this. Now, like I told you, I this past month, the whole entire beginning of May, I got severely sick, and I still have a bit of a cough from time to time, but I'm getting much better. So I was going through a cold. And on top of that, I have another big mini documentary in the works. It's almost done, which you'll be seeing soon. But before seeing that, you'll probably get an episode of Jetpack Retro to promote it before it actually happens. So look forward to that. Also, I am halfway done a new book that will be released soon. I'm thinking about doing a full trailer for it. Thought it'd be fun. And with all that and more, thank you so much for watching. Let me know below what you guys think, and comments and everything, and all that nice stuff that supports me a lot. And until next time, if I make it that far. Bye, guys.